Imagine you're sitting in a conference and the prophet tells you to sell everything and move. Pretty shocking, right? Well, it's now January 1831 in Fayette, and the members are at a church conference when Joseph drops a bombshell. He tells them he's just received a revelation that all members of the church in Fayette, Palmyra, Harmony, and Colesville need to sell their homes and farms and move to Kirtland, Ohio. Okay, why was the Lord asking all of the saints to move to Ohio? Well, he gives them a few reasons. First, the Lord is starting to gather his covenant people. Yep, part of the gathering of Israel. Second, he promises that it's there he'll give them his law and endow them with power from on high. They don't know it yet, but the Lord will have them build his first temple in this age, where he and angels will come and restore keys and give them many blessings. And the third reason the Lord gives them for moving is to escape the power of their enemies. Since the Lord knows everyone's thoughts, he knows there are some bad dudes thinking of doing some bad things. So, yep, it's time to move. Now, imagine you're playing a friendly game of Monopoly with your family. You have all the best properties and are totally dominating the game. Woohoo! But then you draw a strange card telling you to sell all of your properties for 1/10 of what they're worth and to start over with no properties. This isn't fun anymore. And that's kind of what these saints were asked to do. But it wasn't a game, and most of them couldn't get much for their properties, because who wants to buy a farm in the middle of a frozen winter, right? The Lord directs, "They that have farms that cannot be sold, let them be left or rented." And so many lose their money and have to rely heavily on the Lord's promises. This takes a lot of faith and courage, like really, really a lot. The Lord is asking them to leave ASAP and go several days' journey away to the Ohio. It doesn't make sense to them. But even today, God gives commandments to do things that sometimes don't make sense to us. And just like these early saints, we get to learn to trust that he knows why, even if we don't. The Lord promises he will watch over them and be in their midst and give them greater riches, even a land of promise, a land flowing with milk and honey. Now, that may sound kind of sticky, but it's referring to the Old Testament land of promise. And I don't know, they must have really loved milk and honey. Regardless, it's a place to live in freedom and peace. Okay, while several groups prepare for the move, Joseph's mother, Lucy Mack Smith, is charged with leading a group of about 80 people from New York to Ohio. In those days, it was rare to put a woman in charge of such a big task, and at 55, she's not exactly a spring chicken. But with her inspiring faith and tenacity, she is more than up to the challenge. As they start traveling by boat on the Erie Canal, they face hunger, cold, and complaining. But she takes care of their needs and leads them daily in prayers and lots of singing. But as soon as the canal ends in Buffalo, they need to switch to a steamboat to cross Lake Erie. However, ice nearly 22 feet thick blocks the harbor and everyone is stuck. No! They soon find the Colesville Saints and another group led by Thomas B. Marsh stranded and suffering on the dock.
Lucy, can you explain to me what we're gonna do?
These groups are waiting for the ice to break, which could take weeks. But Mother Smith, not liking that plan, finds another steamboat for her group to stay on while they wait. Unfortunately, the boat doesn't have room for the other groups, and her group can only fit on the deck in the cold and rain. But it's still something. She encourages them to sing, pray, and exercise their faith. After a few days, she questions her group of saints on the boat.
Where is your faith? Where is your confidence in God? If you will, raise your desires to heaven that the ice may be broken up, and we will be set at liberty. As sure as the Lord lives, it will be done.
At that very moment, there's a noise like bursting thunder, and the ice in the harbor splits just wide enough for their boat to squeeze through, and the captain quickly guns the engine. As soon as Lucy's steamboat gets through, the ice immediately closes behind them, preventing any other boats from making it through. Everyone on the dock simply watches in amazement. Oh, to have faith like Mother Smith. Meanwhile, shortly before Joseph Smith leaves for Kirtland, a Methodist minister by the name of James Covell desires to follow the saints and receive a revelation from the Lord. This beautiful revelation in section 39 promises Mr. Covell amazing blessings, and he is on fire, ready to make covenants and be baptized. But the very next day, Covell disappears. Confused, Joseph asks the Lord what happened, and the Lord tells him Mr. Covell had received the word with gladness, but temptation and the cares of the world caused him to flee. He was like the seed that fell among thorns. Now, compare James Covell's response to other new converts who were willing to pick up and move once they were converted. Sometimes the Lord asks a lot of us, but His promised blessings of exaltation and eternal life are worth it. And it's our choice whether we're faithful and strong like a Mother Smith or wishy-washy like a James Covell. You know, sometimes we feel the Spirit so strongly in a meeting, inspiring us to do something amazing, but by the time we get home and changed into our comfy clothes, all inspiration's gone. The Spirit is strong, but the flesh is weak. Yeah, some call that post-illumination affliction. Sticking close to the Master is the remedy. Now, with the saints heading to the Ohio, we'll learn next time about the Lord's law and instructions for happiness.